So when you start burning out, because you're hustling, right? You're doing too much. You're doing the most. Your creativity suffers, your inspiration suffers because you are too tired to really tap into your intuition, to connect with the divine. Like, you're not available for that because you're too frantic to notice. Welcome to the Psychology of Manifestation podcast with your host, Sudane Firestar. I am so happy you are here, and welcome to Next Level November, baby. And you know what I'm going to do? I am taking it to the next level in November. I am going to be offering a masterclass. And if you want to know all about it, make sure that you sign up for my free email newsletter, the Starlit Squad. Join the Starlit Squad. The link is in the show notes. And this masterclass is all about taking it to your next level. It's going to be infused with manifestation tips and practices. And there's something super special that comes on the end of it that you're going to also want to get into. So if you want to sign up, if you want to be at the forefront of what's happening, sign up for the email newsletter. Okay. So today's topic is about busy not always being better. I'm a New Yorker, so in New York City, it's a city that never sleeps. And it's true. Like, we are always on the go. We are busy, 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 go, go, go. Like, if you're not productive, if you're not actively taking action and doing something, what are you even doing with your life? Like, that is what it's like here. But the thing is that we need those quiet moments too. We can't constantly be hustling and being in that masculine energy because that's how we get burnt out. That's what drains us. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. Let's get into it. If you are familiar with my backstory, you know that I used to be super anxious and that everything came to a head during the pandemic. Like, the pandemic was actually what kind of saved me and freed me from like sleepless nights, workaholism, anxiety to its highest heights. Oh my gosh, like, I was stressed out of my mind. And I know that so many people suffered during the pandemic, and I have the utmost sympathy for everyone who really suffered and experienced a lot of loss during that time. For me, I grew up with Tibetan Buddhism. And my mom was a practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism when I was growing up. And so for me, when the pandemic hit, it felt like almost going into like a retreat where you're more solitary, you're having these quiet moments of reflection, time to really tap deeply into your spirituality, to connect with the divine and to connect with your higher self. And that was really what it was like for me. And I also got time to connect more with nature during that time. Like, I would go out, I would go to the park, I would take walks, and it was a beautiful time for me where I felt like I really was finally able to overcome my anxiety. It started to dissipate, and I feel like my self-worth increased so much more during that time. So, all of that to say that I know what the difference is like between that like high anxiety, like go, 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 stressed out energy versus this calm, like soothing, like steady, like lapping water kind of vibes, really soothing energy. I know what that's like versus this crazy insanity, like New Yorker city that never sleeps type energy that I used to experience all the time. And what I've noticed is that September is one of those months that gets super crazy for me, and then it's like a runaway train. And so as I've mentioned before, I work as a school psychologist, so it makes total sense that when September comes around, that's the time when things get super crazy. And also now that my daughter is on typical public school schedule, it is totally insane in New York for both of us. So our schedule is just rapid, it's moving, it's fast, and it gets really hard at times for me to remember to put the spiritual before the practical, to put the feminine energy before the masculine energy. For me, the feminine leads and then the masculine follows. And I'm going to talk to you more about what that means and what that looks like for you. So, the masculine energy is the action oriented energy. That's when you're productive, you're producing, you're creating, which is a beautiful thing. But there has to be a balance of both feminine and masculine energy. Like there has to be time where you are slowing down, you're having those quiet moments because if you're constantly just working, go, 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 get on to the next thing, and you're not taking time for quiet moments of reflection, like it gets totally insane. It gets totally crazy. I think it was mostly in my mind. I used to identify as a workaholic. I don't know if I really said it out loud, but someone said that to me recently, and it just started to make me reflect on the past and what I was going through way back when, like all those years ago when I was just constantly in motion, constantly working, constantly doing things. Like someone said to me like, "Oh, I'm a workaholic." Like being a workaholic it's glorified. Like it's supposed to be like this badge of honor that people wear. But let's think of the origin of the word workaholic. It derives from the word alcoholic, right? Addiction, addictive behavior. There is nothing glorious, there is nothing romantic about being a workaholic. It literally destroys people, right? It literally burns you down to the ground. And that's not healthy. There need to be those quiet moments when you are taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical and emotional health. There's nothing wrong with chilling out sometimes. You don't always have to be going, going, going and working, working, working. You need balance. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be 50-50. You know, life is just generally not like that. You're generally not going to get that 50-50. But you know what I mean. You need to have a healthy combination of both in your life. And one of the times where this really became obvious to me and where I actually started to slow down, even though once I got back into the United States and I got back into New York City, like I was at the height of crazy all over again. But when I was in Spain and I was studying abroad in Madrid, that's when I really learned about this, right? Where I remember being at the university, like we had to take a combination of classes at like our like a little office space, or I guess it was like almost like a little tiny school that was dedicated to like my main school, my main university back in the US. But then we also took classes at an actual university in Spain. And I remember having a tutor there, like a peer tutor from my class to help me with some of my assignments and thinking, just like in New York City, we work through lunch, right? Nobody's taking breaks. Like everything is a time to be multitasking. And I remember being like, okay, we can do it during this time. And it was during our lunch period. And this peer tutor being like, yeah, 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 right. But I don't think she was really listening to what I was saying. But I remember then it came time for us to eat lunch. And I'm like, okay, so like when are we gonna do the work? Like when are we gonna work on this assignment? And this girl and her friends looked at me like I had lost my damn mind. Like they're like, are you crazy? Who, what? We're not gonna be working through our lunch break. Like this was a time for them to bond and to connect with one another. This is not the time for them to be doing homework assignments, classwork. But I mean, it is very much a United States, I think. And I mean, it happens all across the world. Like, this is just a mindset for many, many cultures across the world that being action oriented, constantly being in motion is healthy, and it's not the healthiest way to be all the time. So when you start burning out, because you're hustling, right? You're doing too much, you're doing the most. Your creativity suffers, your inspiration suffers because you are too tired to really tap into your intuition, to connect with the divine, to hear your higher self, to hear the divine sending you messages about, like, this is what you need to do next, and this would be an amazing idea. Like, this is your next innovation. Like, you're not available for that because you're too frantic to notice. Your relationships suffer because you're not taking out that time out of your schedule to spend quality time with your loved ones. And also, it's not even just your relationship with physical beings like family members and friends that suffers. It's also your relationship with yourself. Your relationship with yourself suffers. Your relationship with the divine suffers. Like it's all suffering. So the solution is to start to tap more into your feminine energy, to be more in receiving mode, to take out quiet moments in your day for reflection. And that can come in many different forms. That can be mindfulness, that can be meditation, journaling for 10 minutes, right? That could be taking a nature walk. But these are the times where these bright spots. It's gonna be like these flickers. You're gonna get these flickers of inspiration, and people get their flickers of inspiration in different ways. It's just like, an aha moment, like a thought pops into your head, or maybe you hear something, or maybe you see something that inspires you, and you're like, yes, like that's what I need to do. Because you've heard me talk in past episodes about inspired action, and that's where it comes from. Inspired action comes from those quiet moments of reflection. That comes from those moments where you feel like you're being unproductive, but those could be your juiciest, most productive moments because action for the sake of action isn't worth it. Like, there have been many times in my life prior to my retreat, my spiritual retreat, where I got to get in touch with my higher self, where I would constantly be looking outside of myself for answers and for validation. And I would get all these answers. You should do this, you should do that, you should do the other thing. And most times these things were never right for me. Like, they were right for someone else because that was their divine inspiration. Those were specifically designed for them and by them. It wasn't for me. And it's the same thing for you. Like, you need to tap into your intuition, get in touch with your higher self to know what's right for you rather than constantly looking outside of yourself for the answers and the next steps. When you have those quiet moments, that's when you know what to prioritize. So lead with the feminine, take action with your masculine energy, but start with your feminine energy. Make it a priority. It's super important. It's just as important as your masculine action oriented energy. And it goes without saying, right, that meeting your basic needs is really important for your physical and mental health and your emotional health. That means that you need to be doing things like sleeping and eating your meals, not skipping meals just so you can work and get ish done. Like, that is incredibly important. And on top of that, spending time with your loved ones is so important. It's crucial. It's important for mental health, physical health, emotional health too. It's important for nurturing your connection to others. Like, even though I really did love aspects of the pandemic and I would connect with loved ones via Zoom, when I finally saw people in person again, it was incredible because it was like, wow, there's nothing like this. It was so special. I loved it. Even though I consider myself an introvert, it still was so powerful and it gave me energy. It lit me up inside. I was so thrilled, so happy to see the people who meant the most to me in person. And I, what inspired this episode really was, again, like I said, recognizing that September onwards can be like this crazy runaway train for me where I'm doing all the practical things. I'm just leading with action. I am letting the divine feminine go. I'm, letting my practices, my spiritual practices slide. And then also it affects my intimate relationships, right? My daughter, she constantly, like, she always wants to play. Like, we both have busy days. She has school, I have work, and she wants to play at the end of the day when we get home. She wants to play on the weekends. And for me, I have so many things to do, including chores, that it can be like, oh yeah, I'll get to that soon. I'm gonna be able to do that soon, but I have to wash these dishes. I have to sort the laundry. I have all these things to do. And, she wants me to sit there and play with her. And when I have this anxious energy that starts to rise again, I'll be sitting there and like buzzing, and I'm just like buzzing inside because I'm like so anxious that I'm not gonna get it all done. But that is super unhealthy. It's super unhealthy. Like, it's obviously going to lead to our relationship suffering because she's not going to get that individual attention and that connection that she needs if I'm not taking out that time. But that's so important for the health of our relationships with others and with ourselves to take out that time. It is productive, and oftentimes it's also inspiring. I get a lot of ideas when I'm not like actively busy or just having conversations with others, right? That can also inspire you and get your creative juices flowing. As I mentioned, during the pandemic, when, after things started to open up again and I got to go see my loved ones in person, it was highly therapeutic too. So, spending time with your loved ones, that social support and connectedness, is so therapeutic. It's valuable. So don't let your desire to be busy all the time, being action oriented, take away from your connectedness and your relationships with the people who matter to you the most. And like another really, really juicy tip is that delegating is so underrated. The delegating is not just for the wealthy person, even though I know if you're not there yet, you're on your way to being the wealthy woman. But if you're not there yet, don't think that delegating is only for the rich person or I will delegate when I'm wealthy. I will delegate when I'm the CEO. So whether you're the CEO now or you're on the road to being the CEO, like maybe you're the CEO now, but you're so used to doing everything yourself that it just hasn't occurred to you that you can let some of those things go. Like some of the things that don't require that innovation, that don't necessarily need you to be involved, you can let that go. There are people who are experts at other things that you don't necessarily need to have your hands in. You don't need to have your hands in every single project, every single pot. Like you can oversee things. And the same goes for your personal life. There are things that you can delegate to a loved one. You can delegate it to a partner. You can delegate it to a child, you know? Like there are things that other people can do. You don't have to do everything yourself. You can pay other people to do things for you too. And again, you do not have to be a multi-millionaire to delegate some of these things. So for me, some of the things that I like to delegate that you might want to be putting into practice if you haven't done it yet, I love having someone shop for me, like doing the shopping and the grocery deliveries. It is totally worth the time and money. And again, you don't have to do things like this every single week. Even if you treat yourself once a month, I guarantee you that it probably doesn't cost as much as you think it does. Something else you could delegate, the laundry. You can have drop off and pick up laundry or just drop off. I drop off some of my laundry sometimes. I don't do it all. Like there are some pieces that I prefer to do myself, including my daughter's laundry because she has sensitive skin. But other than that, I take a bulk of it and I let someone else do it sometimes. And I'm trying to get into the practice of doing it every week because it frees up my time and energy for my personal relationships. It frees up my time and energy to do something like this, like the podcast, where like I can brainstorm, I can journal, I can be like, "Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. That's my next business venture." Like if I didn't take out time for those things and all I did was the dishes, the laundry, the grocery shopping, I would be totally exhausted. I wouldn't have time to hang out with my daughter if I was doing all these chores all the time and all we did. We could do chores together. That's something else. They call it practical life in Montessori method. Like you could do that, but it's also nice to not always be working, right? Like we can do my daughter's work, playtime. That's her work. Another thing you can delegate, you can have someone clean your home. Like, I really learned about this when I was in Spain. This was incredible. Like, the average person, even people who didn't have a lot of money, they hired people, one or two times a month to come through and do some of the cleaning and do some of the laundry for them. That's really nice for someone where that's someone else's area of expertise, right? That's their specialty. Cleaning or, organizing, that's their specialty. Let them do their expert work. Like, pay them for their gifts. Hire someone to do those things. And you can do that in the US too. It like doesn't have to be in another country where that's the only time where you do those things. Again, I guarantee you it doesn't cost as much as you think it does. Even if you have someone come in for an hour, you can delegate. Trust me, it's highly underrated for the average person, and it's going to help you get to your next level. Okay, so as always, it's time for the homework, baby. It's time for the homework. So now I want you to take a moment out and to think about how you can tap more into your feminine energy. What are those spiritual or manifestation quiet practices that you're going to do to get in touch with your higher self and to connect more with the divine? What are the things that you can do? Like I already mentioned some things. That's journaling, that could be going for a nature walk, a walk in a park, that could be meditation, that could be yoga. But figure out what it is for you that you like to do. I know some people that like to take a warm bubble bath, with meditation music and their crystals. Like, I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to have your quiet moment to really reflect on your day, reflect on the week. And now is the moment to decide too, like, when do you want to do that? Do you want to do that in the morning before the craziness of your day starts? Do you want to do that at the end of the day before you go to sleep? Think about the times where you want to have your quiet moments of reflection so that you can be more inspired. Figure out what to prioritize in your life. What are your inspired actions? Ask your higher self for help. Ask the universe for help. God, the divine, like, that's the moment where you get to ask for guidance. You say, like, I'm, looking to resolve this. I'm looking to begin this. Like, please help me. Like, what would you have me do? These are some questions that you can get on paper. It doesn't mean that it's going to come to you right away, but as the day proceeds, it might come to you later. But figure out what your feminine practices are going to be, what your quiet moment practices are going to be, and figure out when you're going to do it. When are you going to put it into your schedule? When are you going to make it a priority? And also think about one thing that you are going to start delegating, whether that's delegating it to someone you supervise, delegating it to a loved one, like a partner or a child who can do that chore or that pay that bill, whatever it is. Let them do it. Okay, let them help you. It's okay for you to accept help. You don't have to do everything yourself. And then, like, maybe it's something that you want to pay to have someone else do. And please believe me, this is a game changer. You want in on this, okay? So choose one thing that you're going to start delegating and do it today. Or if it's nighttime and you're ready to hit the sheets, do it tomorrow, first thing in the morning, okay? Sign up to have someone else do that work for you. That's what I have for you today, my love. If you got anything of value from this podcast, which I know you do, you always do, please follow the podcast, rate it, review it, give it a 5-star review, subscribe, because as you know, now this podcast is in video format and you can watch it on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, okay? Because that's how I'm going to reach more people who need to hear this valuable message. So when you rate, give it a 5-star review, subscribe, follow, like, do all the things. That's how I am able to get more people this valuable information and message. And as I mentioned earlier, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to my email newsletter, join the Starlit Squad. It's free. The link is in the show notes. I look forward to speaking with you next week. Until next time, I love you. Bye.